and welcome to Astrology and Alchemy with your hosts, Sarah and Matt. We're here, guys. It's been 2 weeks, 1 week,
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
But we were both away last week, and I'm just seeing cars pulling into my driveway, so I'm going to have puppy. I might mute myself. I'm going to have puppy time in a little bit.
Yeah, no worries. We are real people doing real things. So I was going to reshare the link for those people to be joining us because it seems like once you miss a week or 2 weeks, you're dead. Dead in the water, they say. But we've been doing this for years. Matt and I are vampires. We've been doing this for centuries. So he's muting himself. So he's nodding to me, and I know that he's there. Chet, Mary.
I'm still on. I'll mute when the time comes.
Okay, good. Steph, John, everybody in the chat room, welcome. We missed you. We missed you back. So I've got my coffee. I was trying to be good and not have a fancy coffee today. But as you can see, my willpower is weak.
On the vampire thing, I have. It's funny when I did something I did, and I did the QAnon. I always have my glass of port, and I'm like, "Is this port or is this adrenochrome?" And I had somebody like rage on me in the chat that I was making fun of child abuse. But I would make a vampire joke if I had my port, but I don't have port tonight, and I have Coke Zero and water.
Oh no!
I'm being very healthy.
Well, I spoke too soon.
Coke Zero now,
frozen. So we're here. We're here. We're happy to be here. We're excited you guys are joining us. For those of you who are new to the show, Astrology and Alchemy is Matt and I's weekly show to address the next 7 days by using astrology, a little bit of statistics. We try not to be too mathematical. I leave that up to Matt. But we are utilizing psychology, a little bit of chemistry, all the things to psychologically profile and kind of predict what to expect in the next 7 days. And I think for anybody who works with or navigates around social services, anybody that works with groups of people, if you are someone who has to be in customer service, you're familiar with maybe even how your mental health changes from season to season, moon cycle to moon cycle. We're pretty symbiotic with nature, or at least should be, I believe personally. But I would say organically, just in that way. So to see what the stars are doing, I know lately, for example, as Matt allows people to calmly come in the house and the dogs to calm down. He adopted a new dog, by the way. If you're not following Matt on social media, he took in a new dog while on vacation and is like adopting creatures left and right.
We have a little zoo here now, but so cool. Yeah, well, somebody dumped a puppy in a construction dumpster that where it got like crushed, and so. They found it, but then all the shelters were full, so they were gonna, if they give it to the shelter, they're gonna put her down. So I was like,
oh no.
So yeah, now I got 6.
6 dogs, quadruplets, plus another child. So that's 5 children. How are you doing it?
I'm tired all the time.
You don't look it's the vampirism.
I'm tired and cranky.
We're so cranky. No, you're not though. We're not though, really. Blame it on Venus retrograde.
I was just gonna say, Mary Beth says sad that summer's over. I gotta say, this is my lowest point of the year. Is when even though I like fall, when things start getting dark and
it's not over.
It's getting close.
Not over just yet. When is it over? It's
Depends.
August 21st, right?
Meteorological summer ends on the 1st of September, but I forget the other one. There's different ones.
Oh,
I forget the name for the other one. It's not
astronomical.
I don't know. There's one that's the 22nd of September and the other's the 1st of September.
I go on the 22nd of September. That's my ending of the season. So I still feel like I'm in it. My birthday's coming up. It's not the end of summer. I still got days to lay out and get somewhat tan. I'm an Irish tan, so I just burn and shed skin like a snake. But it's so good to see you guys. Carson, Dolly, Mary, all of you guys in the chat room. Welcome. Get your piece of paper. Because like I was saying, blame it on Venus retrograde. I don't know how you guys, a lot of you tune in weekly and ask about money, which is important. I mean, but also asking about romance and like how things are going to go. Right. So I'm interested in how those things are going to go. And how all of the retrograde spaces, we've got 2 full moons, 1 new moon, all kinds of crazy meteor showers happening just in the last few days. Conspiracy theories. Tune in for my other podcast on that kind of stuff. Weird and wild stuff happening around the world. Get your piece of paper out. Are we ready? Someone asked in the chat room, by the way. Oh, you asked. They asked what kind of dog it was. So for anybody
It
not,
looks like Scooby Doo, but really tiny. Like just picture Scooby Doo, but like that big. That's what
teeny,
she looks like.
tiny, little miniature Chihuahua size Scooby Doo.
Miniature Scooby Doo. Looks like a Great Dane, but it's like shrunken. It really does. Looks like a little mini Scooby Doo.
And like a puppy, like 9 to 10 week old puppy.
She's probably like 15 weeks now, but yeah.
Yeah. I remember that picture. I was like, dang, that's like a puppy. Okay. So if you've got your 7 little dots for the next 7 days, today is Tuesday. You don't have to really account for today because it's almost over. But the sun is in Leo today, squaring off with Uranus and Taurus. We had kind of shared, if you're on social media, we do share those things. Kind of tempting to lash out today. Maybe burning some bridges today. Some deep thoughts today. Asteroid, Juno, if anyone cares. A lot of things in Leo. A lot of fiery feelings lately. But let's go ahead and write things out. Matt has not looked ahead. I have. And God help us this next week. So tomorrow, Wednesday, August 16th, if you're a witch, a pagan, if you're someone saucy out there celebrating nature, maybe just a farmer, maybe just a farmer, then the first thing that you're going to have as far as Wednesday goes to celebrate is a new moon. That's a pretty significant thing. New moon in Leo. So focus, change on maybe ego, business, enterprise. Matt, what would you put here for a new moon?
If the new moon's in Leo, that means the full moon is in Aquarius. So I'd say Aquarius cycle. So this is about what needs to change. So I'd say that, you're starting the energy of this cycle in Leo's all about kind of ego and self, but like external recognition. So it's kind of, I would say, what do you need to change to give you the recognition, however that looks. That can be different for different people, but it's what do you need to change to kind of be fulfilled externally.
Ooh. Okay. And then in Venus and
at that point, there's other ones for internal as well, but I wouldn't use this combination. I feel Leo is a very extroverted, external energy and sign.
Mm-hmm.
There's other ones that I feel would be more introverted on the what do I need to change inside.
And that Venus retrograde in Leo also with it makes me feel like the love, the art, the money, it's going to be getting kind of weird and wonky. It's going to need to be a little unconventional, unique, and different because things are changing. And for change to happen, things are going to have to feel different. It just has to.
I view Venus retrograde in Leo as looking at relationships as kind of, am I getting what I want, but having it be misguided? So it's kind of like a self-centered. If you ever have like a conflict in a relationship of somebody or friends, and the one person is having an issue with this thing, and you look at it and go, man, they're just way off, like having this issue. That's how I view like retrograde Venus in Leo.
And then this is kind of an interesting thing because aside from this, and this is that new moon. So I'm often thinking of nature. If you go out in the early morning, there's no big bright ball of the moon in the sky. Instead, you're not seeing anything. It's kind of dark. A great time to see the tail end of that meteor shower if you're in that northern hemisphere and capable without any sky cover, clouds. But if you're a creature that can't see well, can't maneuver well, there's not a lot of light out. So there's this real need to almost use echolocation or infrared or some thermal ability to move. So The idea that if people aren't confident, they're probably not going to be moving in a confident way. And it's a really good time to watch people, especially in those new projects. It's a really competitive time to step forward. If you're confident, if you're 51%, do it. It's a good time. You may not feel that way. Things might be feeling a little inconsistent. And by Wednesday night, don't forget, 2 more things happen on Wednesday. Wednesday night, the moon begins to wax. So it begins to have a little light showing itself, like maybe a little sliver. Not really, we won't see anything. But it's going to be moving into Virgo. Whoop, whoop. That's my spot. That's the moon phase in my space. And so when you think of Virgo, the shift from Leo to Virgo, Matt, what do you think of?
Details, details, details. Some would say picky, but this is an emotional space that wants specifics. They want to dive in and kind of really know the details. And there's also a perfectionist energy to this, so they're going to want things right. So if with the Leo stuff they decide what they want to change or kind of what's moving, now they're going to start getting into the specifics of what specifically needs to change and get altered.
I'm hearing Janet Jackson. Ooh, what have you done for me lately?
I just want to add, because Pepper said she's confused. The signs are kind of paired. The signs that are opposite of each other. And so if you just think of a new moon and a full moon, that's when the moon's 180 degrees of, well, I'm going to kind of try to bounce my arms here, 180 degrees from each other. So the signs that are across from each other are always going to be on the full moon, new moon spectrum. And so she was asking about, isn't Leo and Pisces paired? And no, it's Leo and Aquarius.
In Aquarius, Leo in Aquarius. But no. Is this Wednesday, said Ruth? Yes, we're still tomorrow. This is tomorrow. So here we go. It's like car salesmen too. I think of like the new cars coming out slightly before the new year. It's not actually on the new year. It's kind of happening a little off to what you think it is. The last thing to happen on Wednesday evening. This is tomorrow evening. Boom. Let me put it up there. So for those of you joining us in the chat at the YouTube, and preferably joining us maybe through Paranormal Sarah or Astrology and Alchemy, the Mars in Virgo trine Uranus and Taurus. Uranus and Taurus has been for that way for a long time.
Yep.
But Mars and Virgo and that specific energy together. I have it written down. Taking an unconventional and unusual path might be helpful right now. Yes. What do you say, Matt?
Uranus and Taurus. So Uranus is the kind of outside the box, rebellious. Taurus, stable and indulgent, doesn't want to move. So I always say this one, and it's been in this since we've done the show. It's been in this sign. So folks that have been on this know what I'm going to say. It's like the rebelling by not doing, and trying is synergy. So that has synergistic energy with Mars is action and Virgo is details. So this is an interesting combo because it's like, I almost view it as what are the specific things I need to do, and then I'm going to turn around and not do them to be rebellious. So it's almost like if I asked you, Sarah, for a list of like 7 things you needed, and then I turn around and go, cool, now I know what she wants, but I'm not going to do them. Screw it. So I take this energy as be prepared to be let down. Like if you're depending on somebody for something really important, you better double, triple check because people are going to let people down Wednesday night.
No. I'm going to put that in there as that prediction space because, again, how might the astrology work in a really heavy mental health guidance way? Like guidance as a tool for coping? Absolutely. To feel synergy and connection and empathy with the vibes going on. When someone lets you down, don't let me down. No. But they did. And then they do. And not that we're suggesting it or putting it out there, because we're not, but that if it were to happen tomorrow, right, we're just gambling, and that if that were to happen, that you would then in that moment be like, holy cow, this is what Matt and Sarah were talking about. It may not necessarily be that I didn't get the catch up. This might have been a bigger thing. It allows you to disconnect from selfish self, I, me, and see things in a bit of a macro way, like a honey don't list. And this will be a really good perspective if you can use it well. If you can use it well, there's a lot of earth vibe going on here. So there's a lot of, as Steph would say in the chat room, health related things, stress, coping with the energy around you. Steph adds maybe even things revolving around your pets or animals.
I'll add too. That's a lot of like sixth house. That's the other piece too. Like this is too advanced from what we get into tonight, but depending on your birth chart, whatever's in your sixth house is kind of the Virgo house, and that it doesn't mean it's the Virgo sign, but it's the health and service and things like that. So if you have certain planets in your sixth house that are aspecting, that can be indicative of health type things.
I always think of stress, the Virgo nurturing, the mother making chicken soup. You know, oftentimes when it's Virgo or heavy Virgo energy, I think about mom energy, and I think about what does that mean, and let that kind of guide me in my space, which will be relevant for Thursday. And please feel free, this is the point of this live interactive stream and podcast, guys, though you can find it later on Subspace and Odyssey Radio for a free download. Tonight, right now, if you're listening right now, Steph and Dolly and those of you joining us, feel free to add what you might have, because the only thing we have for Thursday, put a dot down on your paper, guys, this Thursday will be that the moon will continue to be in Virgo. It's waxing in Virgo, so it's growing, and it'll be opposite Saturn in Pisces. Dun, dun, dun. Anytime I see Saturn, I think of rules. If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. I think of like the rules of commitment, and you can do this, don't do that. Can't you read the sign? But what do you see, Matt, when you think of the moon in Virgo opposite Saturn in Pisces?
Well, I agree with the rules. And then when I see Pisces, I feel like there's a sacrificial energy in Pisces. So I view this as what rule can change, or what rule can put in place that may not be to my benefit, but I see that it will benefit others. And so I'm willing to sacrifice for that. So an opposite is it's more tension. It's not necessarily opposition as much as tension. So I see this again, emotional details. What do we need emotionally, having tension with maybe? So I kind of view this as the I versus we type, emotionally, what things might make me happy versus that tension over what might make others that I know and care about happy, and kind of that trade-off.
Ooh, that's a big thing. I have written down in the notes that the shadow work is around open and access, which I think hits big on boundaries. But when you're thinking of Virgo nurturing family, maybe intimate circles or systems in that way, like those people sharing in the chat, maybe you're starting grad school. Congratulations, Pepper. Maybe you're in the middle of doing some cool work stuff, career advancements. Maybe you're making a marital change or an actual location change or a role change. Maybe you're going from single parent to single step parent, or mother from non-mother to maiden, or whatever. These big shifts, these rule changes, how might they affect you in regards to what you allow to be open and accessible? That Pisces flow with Virgo, it's muddy. It's kind of, breathing room. What alchemy can you do to adjust this space? This is Thursday the 17th. And it's the only thing happening that day. So I see that as kind of when we said resistance in the I versus we, what do we see maybe for the country or the nation or the world? What would you say on a bigger scale to expect on Thursday?
Did you ask me? I was reading that chat. I didn't think that was a question for me. Is that a question for me?
What do you think could
I read
happen
wrong.
for the nation, Matt?
So I'm
as
sorry.
far as no, don't be sorry.
I see this as more personal than big things, but do look for, whenever I see that Saturn in Pisces, I look for somebody that's might fall on their sword for something. So just look for that, whether it is somebody that, with all the political things, somebody that takes the fall to cover for somebody else, or, somebody that gives up something for whatever reason, that seems to be sacrificing themselves. And so
Ooh.
I'd look for somebody to kind of fall on their sword.
Okay. I'm putting my predictions down. This is always fun, and we share it if you're in the Gypsy Tribe or a mentorship program with someone or an intuitive group with a coven. This is the kind of stuff that I share, that we might share with each other as far as an online Google Doc of like what to expect. So when there's natural disasters, when there's things happening around us on a bigger scale and you have anxiety or you have certain nerves, you have your own body kind of giving you these signs and you're trying to further understand your intuition, this is the best way I have learned how to do it, is to write it down, share it with those you trust in a sacred space, and see what comes through in validation. And then you get the hindsight of 2020 skepticism to see what patterns and things work. And it's freaky deaky, man. As we've been doing this for years, a lot of the stuff pans out once you kind of see these patterns happening. So unless anyone else has anything for Thursday, I'm going to move on to what to expect for Friday. It's kind of a similar theme. So keep what we've been talking about in mind. And then Friday, this Friday, oh, it's going to feel so good to be Friday. Only one thing to put down. And it's kind of a continuation. Moon in Virgo, waxing. Man, it's going to be like Sarah time for 3 days almost. I'm really going to be excited about that. Good Lord knows I need it. Something being exposed, said Steph. Ooh, conjunct Mars in Virgo. Ooh.
All right. So we're still in this, a lot with Moon in Virgo.
Right.
So again, still this emotional detail. Conjuncts combining the energy. So that's why it's both in the same sign. So really it's taking your emotions and actions and combining them in this very detailed kind of perfectionist space. So there'll be good synergy Friday for acting in a way that's consistent with emotionally what you want. But my call out here is, and this is no offense to Sarah, who is a Virgo, Virgos can be pretty critical. And so just make sure on these emotions and these actions combining that you don't channel it in a constructive way, and don't channel it in a way that you're going to do action by being hypercritical to somebody else, because that might cause you problems later.
Yeah. I think that's a really good piece of advice. As I write that down, channel constructive advice. This is a good day to be inventive. And when you think of inventions, whatever spirit guides immediately come to your mind just then when I said inventor or an invention. Ooh, who was it? Some of mine might be Nikola Tesla, might be Thomas Edison, Thomas Jefferson. These people that had many mistakes, trial and error, that the Virgo goes, I can't get anything right. I can't get anything right. And not to quit. A lot of moving, shaking, very much that Sherlock Holmes energy when he's shifting around and he's watching the flies swirl in the glass jar and noticing the patterns of chaos, that this is a really specific time to kind of be aware of things, but not overthink them. Maybe, if I'm saying that correctly. Am I saying that correctly?
And I apologize if I was looking down. I have something that I know is going on behind me, and so I'm trying to text my kids while we're doing the show to have them address it.
Address it. And Dolly said, man, August 11th, isn't that Virgo? I just realized I slept through my mom's birthday. Get
no,
on
it's
it.
always around somewhere between like the 19th and the 22nd is when the signs always change.
And what's interesting is I know my mother-in-law, and don't we love our mother-in-laws? I hope she's not listening. This would be of all the time she is, it would be tonight, right? She once told me, Sarah, you're not a real Virgo. You're too close to the cusp. She lives in England. And that, I'm on the 27th. And so I'm barely a Virgo, but I am. And that is Virgo. So I always remember that as like Leo comes before me. And apparently it's like right up there. So anyway, Mars pushing
You're in
us
August,
forward.
and I have to look at this more. I don't know. I've been seeing lots of posts lately about distinguishing between like August Virgo and September Virgo, or June Cancer and July Cancer. In my case, December Cap versus January Cap, and so I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be so much.
I think that's overthinking it a bit, but that's me.
I do too. I feel that way as well. Okay, Saturday. It'll be Saturday. What are you doing on Saturday? It's going to be the weekend.
My daughter's moving to Florida.
Your daughter's moving to Florida?
Saturday, yeah.
Oh. How far away?
9 hours.
That's a long time. That's from me to
Almost
Kansas
the same
City.
distance she was away at college. It's just the opposite direction now. So
okay. How do you feel about
that? I'll be sad on Saturday.
I'm gonna say I don't want to be the therapist there for a minute, but like, how do you feel about that, Matt?
I'll be sad.
Okay.
I forgot if I mentioned earlier. This is my low point of the year anyway, so this is just adding to it.
Well, everyone send Matt special energy for his daughter, and that'll be. I think that's always hard. Dolly said, I did tell her Epstein Barr was visiting. She's like, who? It's so much fun. The chat room, we have really fun things happening. Just so you know, if you don't join us live on the chat room, check it out on our social media, Astrology and Alchemy, at Paranormal Sarah, at Slosure, wherever you're joining us, go down the rabbit hole further and find us. Saturday. Dun, dun, dun. Saturday the 19th. I can't believe it's already halfway through the month. More than halfway through the month. I can't even. Anyway, the moon is waxing. Not in Virgo. For once. It shifts out of Virgo into what? We know what. Moon will be waxing into Libra. Da, da, da. Libra. Lady Liberty. What do you say about that?
I'm probably biased because I have a lot of planets in Libra, so I'm probably like Libra's very balanced, very diplomatic, but it's a cardinal sign. So I always say it's the doing things through others. It's like a soft power type sign. It's the inviting you over for dinner and having you, did you enjoy the meal and everything? And oh, by the way, I got all this like wood out back. Would you mind helping me like stack it? It's like that kind of stuff. It's a little manipulative.
Well, you're here.
Exactly. So you always got to watch. So this is emotional more in. So it's more. You're not going to make waves. There'll be, but watch. Like this is like read between the lines energy, because people aren't going to be very direct, but people are still going to want to move and manipulate. But it's going to be very indirect.
Indirect manipulation.
Out of the 4 cardinal signs, I'd say like Libra and Cancer, which is interesting because they're square to each other. But Libra and Cancer are more indirect. The crab moves side to side, and Aries and Capricorn are more, charge right ahead.
And as Steph said, Libra is the planet of Venus, which is retrograde. And so money, yeah. Moderation. Give me some, give them some. 1 for me, 2 for you. 2 for me, 1 for you. How do we feel about, because this is air magic. Libra definitely working and social, flighty, maybe even dramatic. The moon, emotions. What do we say for the news, the nation's news on Saturday?
Again, it's just the, we're kind of different on this for folks who maybe were just new, like Sarah and I on this, and that's I don't put a whole lot into moon energy because, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't put a whole lot into moon energy on the macro, like global type scale. I feel it's much more of an interpersonal thing because the moon changes very, very quickly. So it's kind of like just that emotional undercurrent or emotional kind of push or pull that's going on each of us individually. So that can play out in big things, but I don't feel it's a strong enough energy that you're going to see like, big, profound things coming up. But if I had to make a prediction, it would be that there's not going to be a lot of waves made on Saturday from this. There may be actually some overtures being made between people that are in conflict with each other, but I wouldn't read too much into it.
Okay. Okay. And then Steph said she also has in her almanac space that on Saturday, Jupiter and Uranus in Libra. Uranus is in Taurus. Or no, she's mentioning someone in the chat that heard Jupiter and Uranus are in
Libra.
I said
my Mars, Jupiter, and Uranus are all in Libra, and she just said her Jupiter and Uranus. So I must be close to the same age.
Hey.
I mean, Uranus stays that way for a long time, but Jupiter's like, maybe a year. So to have that combo, we're probably at least in the same year.
Oh, is that now? Please correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but isn't the Uranus cycle 9 years?
It might be. I was thinking the Jupiter is the one. So the combo with Uranus and then the Jupiter being in the same.
Okay. So see, there's where the math comes in, guys.
Jupiter's roughly a year.
Okay. I like the fact that some astrologers really do have all of that math down and are extremely familiar with like the rates of speed and all of that. It's so fantastic to me, the degrees and geometry that you have to, it's not even, my brain can't.
Retrograde screws me up though, because like Mars was like retrograde for like 6 months. Like it was in Gemini for like, I think Mars usually changes every like maybe 3 to 4 months, and it was in, or maybe 3 months, and it was in Gemini for like ever.
It's just fun as a profiler to know that if somebody was on the other side of an like sex phone operator, and they were like, well, my moon's in the 12th house and blah, 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 blah. That like, if you knew what you were talking about, you could kind of determine their age and when they were born. Ooh.
I'll tell you, it is weird because I've done this for myself, and you can do this in your personal ones, but like, just so folks know, and we don't have time to go into all the houses, but if you know your rising sign, that's kind of sets your first house, and then it goes around the other 12, and then the combo of your planets, but then the sign can read certain things. Like whatever's in your 12th house is kind of like your deep psychological stuff.
Oh, man.
And so it's interesting. Like I look at it, it's just interesting to see like things along those lines. And so it's and then and I have to say this is true for me too. They say whatever house Pluto's in, that's what you'll struggle with.
Whatever your Pluto?
Whatever house Pluto, not the sign, whatever house your Pluto's in.
Man, so much fun, exciting things to go into with that. I really wish that, and even in the chat room, people are expanding. Steph was sharing she wanted to learn more about the Sabian symbols, which actually is something I find really cool. Images, early 1900s, kind of based on like early, and it's not Mayan. I think it's either Mesopotamian or Mayan, and I always get it mixed up. But like a picture of a zodiac saying or scripture, you'd have to correct me, Steph, because I can't remember exactly, on for every 360 degrees of a circle for the days and for the zodiac. And it's kind of cool. But so many neat things to just break down from the understanding of personality and how it references in astrology all the time in so many different cultures. It's a really cool thing. I see it in the 12 Disciples. I see it in Christianity. I see it in some of the books of Solomon. It's just really neat to see how it shows itself in different ways. So anyway, Sunday, let's stay focused, guys. Sidewalk talk. Sunday the 20th. Boom, boom, boom. Put it in there in the chat, Sarah, so that we can say it out loud. The sun, no, Sunday. The moon, that's right. It's waxing. The moon will be waxing in Libra still, because it's like what, about a day and a half that the moon's moving in us in a constellation. And it's sextile, ooh, baby, Venus retrograde in Leo. So when you see that combination,
a lot of moon stuff. So there's gonna be a lot of emotional pulls.
Get your Kleenexes
It's
out.
gonna be an emotional week.
Yeah.
So sextile is, I call sextile removing obstacles too. So this Venus and Leo, I mentioned earlier, particularly since it's retrograde, it's kind of this focus of what I want in relationships, but it's misguided. You're either misreading signals, or it's not constructive energy in that spot. And so this is interesting in that your emotional energy in this diplomatic space is removing obstacles to this, kind of misguided expressing yourself in relationships. So I'm actually going to take this in a positive way. And I will say that the diplomatic emotional energy is actually going to remove obstacles to misreading the Venus retrograde in Leo. So I feel like if people are expressing themselves in less than constructive ways, the emotional energy will be one that'll be easy to kind of smooth it over. So I would never tell people to intentionally, stir up trouble in their in their relationships, but I feel there'll be some constructive energy if you do. If you're gonna screw up, Sunday is probably the best day to screw up.
I think this is interesting that you say that, because I had written down that the shadow work is bond building. Now, I think of the horrific things happening in Maui and Hawaii, and the horrific, I'll use my Dana Carvey fingers as far as like wildfire disasters happening, because there's just so many things happening in that space. But what you will see, as Fred Rogers reminded us to look for the helpers, you will see bond building from it. You will see united fronts coming forward. You will see community stand. So I put that in the bond building for this day. Venus retrograde in Leo, some of those things. So, Pepper, I'll have to put that in on a social media, or put it in the chat as we're talking. So I'll share the link. She's asking me to expand on the 12 disciples and aligning them to the zodiac and some of the cool things in that way. And I will share it with you in the chat, or you can just, you can Google it too, but you'll find all sorts of wild and weird things if you do that. So lo and behold, be careful. Okay, Matt, don't be surprised.
I'd like to see that, because I'm curious what.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to find it.
Which one is.
Which one is tied to which one?
Yeah. Well, I have one. One's my confirmation name, and it kind of fits my personality. So now I'm kind of curious if it's a sign that I have a lot of stuff in. So.
Okay, I'm gonna find it. Okay, Monday. You know the song. Don't make me sing it. I almost did it, but I won't. Monday, the moon. It's another moon sign. It's another moon movement. It's really the only thing I have written down, unless Steph or some of the others. Oh, wait, she does.
Yeah, Quinn cut stuff, though. We usually don't.
I don't usually put that, but
yeah, that's like fine-tuning stuff.
Well, but when we get into some of the advanced things, so she's saying, so let's just think about that Sunday night, a little Jupiter Sun movement with Neptune. Anytime I see Neptune, I think of dream and delusion and fantasy. Overdosing with Jupiter. What? With Chris Farley in the room? Get out of town. That's some crazy Belushi energy right there. So that's when she said, odds anything to what's going on. It could be crazy and wild and weird. Add that to some of the just growth, falling down the stairs. And then I see that scene in The Office Space when he gets hit by a car and then wins $1 million and creates his jump to conclusions, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie. So it's a small thing, but it might be relative. So resistance, frustration. Dang it, car accident. But something's going to come out of it. And then on Monday, the moon will be waxing, but finally out of Libra, out of Virgo, out of Libra, get out of here. And it'll be moving. Oh no, not that sign.
We gotta be nice.
My dad's a Scorpio. I just got done hanging out with my dad not too long ago. Good God. Heaven almighty. I got told to lose weight, make sure I bring, this, make sure what am I doing this? Why are my kids not in more baseball? Like what? It's all out of love. It's all good things. But my goodness gracious, Scorpio. Helping people transform by being a little saucy. What do you see when you see moon waxing?
Especially water. I feel I'm kind to all the water signs, but I get grief from Scorpio and Pisces all the time saying I'm crapping on them. I'm actually feeling pretty nasty. I feel like out of all the elements, I feel like I'm the harshest on the fire signs, but I don't think fire signs give a crap. That's why I don't get any grief from them. Scorpio is intense. And I will say, in my opinion, Scorpio and Capricorn are the two most intense signs. But Scorpio is internal intensity and Capricorn's external intensity. So Scorpio, you'll have kind of that poker face. You won't really know what's going on. I always kind of use the analogy of a river with the water for a Scorpio, and that you see how it's flowing on the surface, but you have no idea where the currents and things are going underneath. And you could, I'm thinking of that small, it's not very wide river it's in England or Wales, where you can't swim across it or you'll drown. And the reason why there's all these like really weird currents and stuff. So you'd like get in it and you get like sucked right down to it. I gotta look up that for you to see which it is. But yeah, there's like nobody's swam across this thing because the wild currents. That's Scorpio. It can be very, very intense emotions and energy, but you don't see it.
You don't see it.
And you don't know when it's going to come out. Gosh, like in a chat in this show. So, and since Moon's emotion anyway, and this is a very intense water emotional sign, you may have gotten a free pass on Sunday with what I said. I would tread carefully on Monday.
Monday. Don't push it. Push it. Don't. It's going to get you. It's going to get you. It's going to bite you. It's going to get you on Monday. Don't push it. That's not the day. It makes me just, gosh, when I was visiting my dad, if he would get frustrated, if he would feel, and mind you, he's also on like heavy medication that kind of, with that power and control, control over your body and power over your ability to regulate things, and just these little itty bitty shifts that you feel like maybe you're losing it. And it's, well, then let's just sell the house. And it's like, just because you spilled some coffee on something, like, whoa, hold on a second, and to just take it, just whoa. So Monday, going to be kind of a rough start after a very emotional week. So be prepared. Warning. Here are warning. But that's not the only warning. This is where I'm going to say Tuesday, August 22nd. As long as I'm moving forward, Steph, please let me know. Matt says, man, I've got, oh no, Mary said, does that mean I have permission to bite people that piss you up? No, it doesn't. And you can't tell them Matt and Sarah told you that it was the stars, even though it is going to be. Just, have your extra coping mechanism on hand and be prepared. But it's Tuesday. Tuesday's the one, you guys, I want you to put 3 big old dots down on your piece of paper for intuitive reasons, right? The first is this. Dun, dun, dun. They're still letting Matt know that he's got people in his house. Those dogs are doing their job. Tuesday, Mercury. So that's the sign of the throat. That's your communication. Mercury and Virgo. What? That's my sign. And my Mercury's in Virgo. Trine Pluto in Capricorn. Ooh.
I like when I see now when we talk about predictions and big scale, and I know I'm setting myself up, and I have to think about a prediction now. Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, those are the big ones. When they like pop up, I think more like global, national type things. When it's the planet's closer to the sun, I think more interpersonal type things, and that's just the way I view it. So here again, Mercury is communication and ideas. Virgo is very detailed. So pay attention. This is one of those words are important. People are going to be very specific, whether they're even conscious of it. Their words are going to be very specific to kind of what they are thinking. And this is going to have good synergy with big, profound changes in that kind of Capricorn achievement, accomplishment space. So if people articulate goals, if people articulate what they want, any needs that are expressed on Tuesday are going to be very accurate and not misguided. So pay attention. Pay attention to the news. Any statements that are made, it may not play out, but people are going to speak their true intent on Tuesday, which will be a very interesting day then.
I think that this is interesting for a declaration because that Mercury in Virgo is be specific. Do not say, I want happiness. I mean, that's a great intention. That's a great idea to communicate, but be specific. The Virgo mother doesn't have time for everyone. This is the theme in that Jim Carrey movie, Help Me, where he is Bruce Almighty. I think that's the first one, right? And if everybody gets what they want. Oh, you can't do that. If you do that, everything gets crazy. Everybody wins the lottery, so nobody gets any. It can't work that way. And it won't work that way. And Virgo, the divine mother, communicating, just tell me exactly what you want. Do you want ketchup on your chicken nuggets on the side, not touching with French fries, no crust, no salt, pepper, room temperature, what? Because this is going to change your life if you learn that feeding your toddler can be done in an ice cube tray from the dollar store and suddenly you have 10 more minutes. Like what? It's life-changing. Communicate the specifics on this day. And this is just the first of three major movements happening. So then the next one, oh no! Right?
My dog, but that was Jack. He voiced in. He's like,
Jack said, oh no.
Amen.
Yes, Jack, tell them. And it is true because look out. Mars and Virgo. Mars, I think of your will to fight. I think of Mel Gibson on the hill with the darn skirt on, hollering out something very specific because it's in Virgo. And it's opposing or opposite, the opposite of, is it? Is that what it means? Neptune and Pisces. So as a social worker, somebody in forensic psych, Neptune and Pisces is the day that working in crisis, suicide, homicide, you're going to get it. And it's on a Tuesday. So is that like a Taco Tuesday mishap? We don't know. But it's Neptune and Pisces for certain. But what do you see when you see Mars and Virgo opposite Neptune and Pisces?
Yeah, I feel like this is, since Neptune is kind of delusions and Pisces is kind of that introspective sign, I see this almost as, since Virgo is so specific, it's like the actions having tension with what you, I don't know how to phrase this. It's like the actions are your real truth, but it's going to be tension between your delusion of what you want. And so there's going to be this tension between what you end up doing or what you see that you need to do and what you would prefer or like to do. But the reality side of this is on the Mars end. But yeah, there's going to be tension.
Mm-hmm. I wrote
action having tension with ideals.
You might feel easily drained and need time alone to recharge. losing something you may have desperately wanted to win. I was hearing cheap shot, cheap trick. I was hearing cheap trick. And I wrote down cheap shot, cheap trick, cheap shot, like question mark, back and forth in my journal space for this day. Or maybe it being an emotional day. Maybe those road rage, finding it difficult to focus just through all the craziness this day. And this is just that Tuesday. There's one other thing happening on this Tuesday. And then we're going to be done. Believe it or not, we're going to have finished out the whole week. Tuesday night, unless Steph has something or other astrologers in our chat have something to add. The last thing for the week is it's going to round out with Venus and retrograde, right? So it means we can't see it. It's not there. Where'd she go? Oh my God, we don't have any money or love. What do we do? All of our ancestors not being able to see that. That's kind of in essence what I think of. But Venus in retrograde and Leo squaring off with Jupiter in Taurus.
This can go a lot of different ways. Now, square is conflict. So Jupiter's opportunity. So think about this. Opportunity to indulge oneself, having conflict with romance focused on yourself and your ego. And so this could really go two different ways in that the conflict could be you indulge in things, you indulge your ego into things romantically that are actually harmful, or the things that you think you should indulge in that would feed your ego are not working out for you. I think either one could work in this situation.
I want you guys to keep in mind that I do sex offense treatment. So when I wrote down the words or the neurolinguistic programming to kind of focus on, I also go back and look at it and just look at it, what it is in all the ways that it is written. And for this day, I put lay off. Right.
I'm having a weird reaction because I have not heard that word in a while. And now I've heard it like 3 times in really weird ways today. And
it is the time. And lay off has a lot of different meanings, but it is in essence a way that people are redefining their resources. They are shifting their gears. They are changing their current. And that is absolutely happening this week in all the ways. So when alchemy moves and we as a species ripple on that movement, those influences, think about what your business might be doing, where you work, what you're doing in your home management and your family management and your own space. What are you doing to manage your resources, budget, and make room for growth? Because that's happening in all the areas. And how might that affect you? Right? Yeah. All right, guys. Again, as usual, I'm going to put in the chat room where you can find us. mslosier@yahoo.com, but also paranormalsarah.com. And you guys, we really do hope that you will check us out on Subspace, Odyssey Radio, all the places, YouTube. Share us if you care. And of course, join us every Tuesday. We'll be here next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if in the meantime, you just can't wait, you want to have a birth chart reading, you want a reading from Matt and I because you just want to support our cause and you just think it's great and you just know that we do this out of the kindness of our hearts and you want to know what the stars haven't aligned for you, let us know. We'll do a reading for you. We will absolutely do that to help you get situated for the fall, for the times, and for opportunity and insight. But I love talking with all of you guys. Matt, anything else I'm forgetting we should add?
That's it. I'm happy to be back. Happy talking to y'all. Glad it was all very engaged today. So thank you, everybody.
It was a good show.
Well,
all right, guys.
Soon.
Next Tuesday. We'll see you there.
Tuesday. All right. Take care, everybody. Let me find the video. Okay, here we go.
All right.
Talk to you later.